For the first time in Wisconsin, more than half of voters say they support same-sex marriage. But is this change in public opinion enough to make a change in state law? News 8's Carrie Vick takes a closer look.
Well, Mark, the data is from a new Marquette Law School poll. And while some say it shows a fundamental shift in the belief systems of many Wisconsin residents, a change in state law is likely years away. That's because it's not as easy as just passing a law.
I think it's a matter of time.
Lacrosse man Jared Lemke says it could take years, but eventually he believes Wisconsin will legalize same-sex marriage.
Will it happen in Wisconsin now? Probably not, but in 5 years, 10 years, probably it'll be just across the nation.
A new Marquette Law School poll shows 53% of Wisconsinites now support same-sex marriage. That's an almost 10% increase in just 1 year. Lemke says his generation is likely playing a large role in the change.
I think it's a kind of a generational mindset that same-sex marriage is not okay in some, but I guess it's just a progressive thought.
The Seven Rivers Region LGBT Resource Center says more members of the community are also willing to bring awareness to the issue.
A lot more people have been feeling more comfortable over the last couple of decades to come out and to be visible. Centers like ours, I also think, are helping that because we create a space in the community.
But UW La Crosse political science professor Joe Heim says no matter what the polls say, it will take a lot more to change a state constitutional amendment.
A piece of legislation has to pass 2 consecutive terms of the legislature. In other words, it would have to pass, for example, this year, both houses, the Senate and the Assembly, and then after the next election, it would have to pass the same 2 houses one more time. Then it goes to the voters in a referendum. It's a statewide referendum, and that's basically a yes or no vote on that.
Heim says the polls would have to show much larger support before legislators would kick off that process.
Furthermore, the Assembly and the Senate are in the control of the Republican Party. They have traditionally been opposed to same-sex marriage. So the combination, and by the way, the governor is involved with this too. So the fact that that party is in control right now makes it very unlikely that they would even take up this bill this fall.
But even though it would take a long, extensive legislative process, Lemke says the change will come.
Everything changes over time.
Showed a drop in the number of people who oppose any legal recognition. It went from 23% in 2012 to just 19% in this year's poll.
All right, thank you, Carrie. State Representative Steve Doyle says there isn't currently any proposed legislation to make a constitutional amendment to a definition of marriage. He says it will take higher poll numbers and a change in who holds office before it will be considered.